to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. I hope you're having a lovely Thursday. Sun's out today, wasn't expecting it. Going for dinner at my mum and dad's. Should be all right. Today's video, I've dug my own grave, as the saying is. Earlier this month, I didn't have enough library books to do a library haul, and I didn't have enough books to do a book haul. So I did a library and book haul. And now I'm in exactly the same position. So whereas if I could have just done, if I'd have just waited a little bit, I could have done the library haul and I kind of done the book haul. But now I've got some library books and some books. So here we are again. We will reset for May. We'll go back to just doing the pure library hauls and the pure book hauls in May, because I do like the neatness of those. But here we are. What do we start with, library books or books? Pick. You're right, it was library books. Imagine if you actually did think library books. Right, okay, so I've got 2, 4, 6, 7 books here from the library. Some of these you might recognise too, because I've got them out from the library before and not got round to reading them. We're hoping that we might get them read this time. First one is Metronome by Tom Watson. Heard about this on the Sarah Cox show, because that's where she hears about all books. It says, for 12 years, Ina and Whitney have been in exile on an island. Absolutely love books set on an island. I don't know why my voice isn't working today. For a crime they committed together, tethered to a croft by pills they take for survival every 8 hours. They've kept busy, Aina with her garden, her jigsaw, her music, Whitney with his sculptures and maps, but something is not right. Shipwrecks have begun washing up, supply drops have stopped, and on the day their punishment is meant to end, the warden does not come. Instead, a sheep appears, but sheep can't swim. This sounds very unusual and good. Aina becomes convinced that they've been abandoned, that Whitney has been keeping secrets. As she starts testing the limits of their prison, investigating possible ways to escape, she is confronted by decisions that haunt her past. Little does she realise her biggest choice is yet to come. Well, that sounds really good. I remember getting this out from the library, but I don't remember that being the blurb. Oh, bloody hell. Well, I'm into that. Next one is definitely one I've got out from the library for. It's Still Life by Sarah Winman. Every time, so many people say to me, you must read Sarah Winman, you must read Still Life, you must read Still Life. Like if I ask for recommendations, when I was talking about books that I think is going to be on the long list, so many people were like, that will be on the long list. This didn't qualify for the Women's Prize this year. I think it was on last year's. But yeah, so many people say that I should read this. I can't believe that it is now in paperback, and yet we're still getting a 2-week loan out of it. So I already knew when she got it off the shelf and started stamping it, and I saw that 2-week loan, I was like, I'm not going to get that read in 2 weeks. There's just a mental block with me and books from the library that have got a 2-week loan stamp on them. First of all, because I've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books from the Women's Prize to read by next Wednesday. I am, well, not even halfway. I'm halfway through Demon Copperhead, but I've got 4 more to read, one of which is in this haul. I'm not going to get this done in 2 weeks, so this is going to go back again, and I'm going to have to get it out again. So, but I must read it. So in 1944 in Italy, as bombs fall around them, 2 strangers meet in the ruined wine cellar of a Tuscan villa and share an extraordinary evening. Ulysses Temper is a young British soldier. Evelyn Skinner is a 64-year-old art historian living life on her own terms. She has come to salvage paintings from her wreckage of war and relive memories of her youth, where her heart was stolen by an Italian maid in a particular room with a view. Ulysses' chance encounter with Evelyn will transform his life and all those who love him back home in London forever. I mean, if I don't get round to this, which I'm being honest, I don't think I'm going to, then maybe I should buy it and take it on my honeymoon with me, because I'm in the market for, I'm in the market for a lovely stack of paperbacks to take on my honeymoon with me, because no one wants to be taking big old hardbacks on holiday with them. So I'm in the market for, I mean, I said 10, but that is a bit optimistic. It's my honeymoon. I suppose I should talk to David occasionally, but maybe I will buy this and take this with me. Maybe, who knows? I've got me and David, one of our wedding presents from a friend of ours was a book token, so we're gonna take a trip to a bookshop and buy some books for the honeymoon anyway. Next up, I've got Up Lara Bloom by Dee Benson, The Secret Diary of a Teenage Catastrophe. I was watching a video of books that are coming out this year by UK black authors, and this was one that I thought sounded so fun, and I love that front cover and all those lovely like flowers in her afro. I think it looks amazing. When dreamy new boy Caden arrives at school, Lara decides to give herself the ultimate glow up. With the help of her friend, she'll win Caden's heart in no time. But as she sets to work on becoming her best self, she pours her top secrets dilemma into her online journal. How can she keep her hair under control? Why is she so uncoordinated? Will she ever grow boobs? Should she really glow up for a boy? With her secrets safely locked away, Lara is on track for the glow up of her dreams. Surely nothing can go wrong. This is published by Hotkey Books, and Hotkey Books always have a little key on the back of their books of what to expect in there. And it's got in here friends, football, fun and crushes. So there we go. Then I've got Yinka, Where Is Your Husband by Lizzie Damilola Blackburn. Yinka wants to find love, her mum wants to find it for her, but how can she find a husband? Husband is spelt with a Z as well, and I really like that. When she is surrounded by her many aunties who frequently and loudly pray for her delivery from singledom, has a preference for chicken and chips over traditional Nigerian food, and a bum she's sure is far too small as a result. Oh, and the fact that she's a 31-year-old South Londoner who doesn't believe in sex before marriage is a bit of an obstacle too. When her cousin gets engaged, Yinka commences Operation Find a Date for Rachel's wedding. Armed with a totally flawless and incredibly specific plan, will Yinka find herself a husband? What if the thing she really needs to find is herself? Yeah, I think that sounds fun. Then another book from the Sarah Cox Between the Covers. This has got to go back soon as well. This is due on the 3rd of May and I can't renew it. So will I get around to reading it? I really want to read this because when they were discussing it, it sounded fun and amazing. She says, and then the first line is about people going missing. In the UK, someone is reported missing every 90 seconds, just gone, vanished in the blink of an eye. DCS Kat Frank knows all about loss. A widowed single mother, Kat is a cop who trusts her instincts. Picked to lead a pilot program that has her paired with an AIDE, artificially intelligent detective entity. That's where I thought it sounded fun. Locke. Kat's instincts come up against Locke's logic, but when the two missing persons cold cases they're reviewing suddenly become active, Locke is the only one who can help Kat when things get personal. AI versus human experience, logic versus instinct. With lives on the line, can the pair work together before someone else becomes another statistic? Yeah, I think it sounds like I'm going to get through it quick when I do get to it. So there is every chance I will get this done by the 3rd of May. It can't be renewed. Someone else has got another reservation on it. Yeah, we'll see. I hope. And then I've got Jessica George's, I think this is Mame. I was raised to be Mame, now I want to be me. Or it could be Mame. Mame has many meanings in twee, but in my case it means woman. Meet Maddie Wright. All her life she's been told who she is. To her Ghanaian parents, she's Mame, the one who takes care of the family. The farmer? There's no farmer. Her mum's stand-in, her dad's carer, the one who keeps the peace and the secrets. It's time for her to speak up. When she finally gets the chance to leave home, Maddie is determined to become the woman she wants to be. One who wears a bright yellow suit, yes please, stands up to her boss and dates men who definitely aren't on her mum's list of prospective husbands. Someone who doesn't have to Google all her life choices, but when tragedy strikes, Maddie is forced to face the risks and rewards of putting her heart on the line. Will it take losing everything to find her voice? Again, I think this sounds really good too, so the library books are absolutely delivering this time round. Then the last one I've got from the library is one that's on the Women's Prize long list. I'm actually probably going to pick this up this evening, so this is going to be being read almost instantly. This is Pod by Leyline Paul. Leyline Paul has also been shortlisted for the Women's Prize. I think the first year I was ever sort of like aware of the Women's Prize with the book The Bees, which told the story of an anthropomorphized bee in the bee community, beehive. This Pod is about an anthropomorphized dolphin, but it's also got sort of like other messages of like the damage humans are doing to the sea and things like that. So it says, oh, Ia has always felt like an outsider. As a spinner dolphin, she's expected to join in the elaborate rituals that unite her pod. But Ia suffers from a type of deafness that means she can't master spinning. When catastrophe befalls her family and Ia knows she is partly to blame, she decides to make the ultimate sacrifice and leave. As Ia ventures into the vast, she discovers danger everywhere, from lurking predators to strange objects in the water. But just as Ia is coming to terms with her solitude, a chance encounter with a group of arrogant bottlenoses will irrevocably alter the course of her life. In her terrifying, propulsive novel, Leyline Paul explores the true meaning of family, belonging, sacrifice, the harmony and tragedy of the pod within an ocean that is no longer the sanctuary it once was, and which reflects a world all too recognisable to our own. I'm looking forward to this. What I will say is that I didn't love The Bees. I found it like there wasn't enough anthropomorphization in that book for me. As in, I don't feel like we ever got to know, I believe the bee was called Flora, but then like a number afterwards. It was more, I was expecting more sort of like personality in there, and I didn't get much personality from the bee, she says. Imagine saying that as like a sentence. So I'm hoping we might get a little bit more personality from Ia. We'll see. I'm hopeful for it. I'm hopeful for it. So those are the library books. Next we're on to the books. The books start thusly. I've got books that I've bought. I should sort them out. Right, let's start with, I've had one sent to me by the publisher. I'm very excited about this. It's the TV, the TV film, so the film front cover of Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret by Judy Blume, which has been made into a film. It's going to be on Netflix this month, or is it May, with Rachel McAdams playing Margaret's mum. I'm really excited about it. I loved Judy Blume when I was younger. I really felt like she tackled some amazing topics for me, like reading as a young girl. I remember very vividly sort of like finding out about periods through Judy Blume's books. Like I've been sort of aware, but I didn't know the sort of intricacies of them. Also, I remember reading, like, they obviously don't make them anymore, but the character in the Judy Blume book was wearing like a period belt where you hooked on a sanitary towel at like the front and the back. So yeah, these books they were written in like the 80s and 90s, weren't they? When was this first written? Bloody hell, 1978! So yeah. And then it was first published by 98 by Macmillan. So yeah, I'm looking forward to revisiting this because I love Judy Blume. This is another contender for my honeymoon because I think this will be lovely to revisit. I think I might save this for the honeymoon. It'll be lovely. But yeah, it's about Margaret and her sort of praying to God every night, mainly to get bigger boobs and for like boys to like her and stuff. But yeah, I really, really liked this a lot when I read it when I was younger, but it has been a good few years. But yeah, maybe I will. And this also, film and TV front cover are often shit, but this is actually really good. So I'm very, very pleased that we seem to have reached somewhere where we can get TV and film front covers of books, which are actually quite good. I really like this front cover. Next up, I've got a book that somebody bought me from my, this is also on the potential for going on honeymoon with me. Somebody bought me this from my wish list, and I'm always so grateful when people send me stuff from the wish list, because she says, talking about her wish list, even though she says I never shout out the wish list, so I always have a wish list linked in the blurb down below, and whenever I get any books from it, it's always just such a lovely treat. So thank you for sending me this. This is The Offing by Benjamin Myers. I actually got this out from the library, and then this arrived in the post, which was lovely because it was on my wish list. I think this is going to be another, as I said, honeymoon read. Paperback, that's what we're looking for. One summer following the Second World War, Robert Appleyard sets out on foot from his Durham village. 16 and the son of a coal miner, he makes his way across the northern countryside until he reaches the former smuggling village of Robin Hood's Bay. There he meets Dulcie, an eccentric, worldly older woman who lives in a ramshackle cottage facing out to sea, and she introduces him to the pleasures of rich food, sea swimming, sunburn and poetry. The two come from different worlds, yet as the summer months pass, they form an unlikely friendship that will profoundly alter their lives. Doesn't that sound lovely? Like summer, warmth, friendship, sort of that period of time I really like reading books about as well. So yeah, do I start making a pile of books that I'm thinking of taking on my honeymoon? Yeah, maybe I will. Maybe I've just done that now. Next up is the second book in a series. This is The Archers, Homefire at Ambridge by Catherine Miller. This front cover makes me laugh so much. It really looks like something that my nan would love to read. So David's dad fell very ill at the beginning of March, which was a horrible time for all of us, and thank you if you contacted me to ask where I'd sort of disappeared to. He's on the mend, he's doing all right, but as part of his recovery he's not really allowed to do much moving. So we read the Ambridge, what was it called? I can't remember. The first Archers book. There's two of these Archers books written by Catherine Miller. The Archers is a radio soap that's been running for like 75 years. Both David's dad and I are very, very fond of it, and we often talk about it. And then the first book is set as a sort of like prequel to the whole series. It's like set in 1941, I think. No, this is 1941, so that one was set in 1941, and that one was set in months, so we read a different month a day. It took us 12 days to read it, and we had a lovely time messaging each other about how we were getting on with the book and stuff like that. We both enjoyed it, but I tell you what, I thought picking a book, the Archer's book, would probably be safe from shagging, but there was an awful lot of shagging in a book that I was reading with my father-in-law, so... but we enjoyed it so much, and I knew that there was a second one coming out. I didn't realise it had already come out, so I bought us both a copy. He has his copy already, and we're going to read this in May, so this will be appearing on my May TBR. It is set in the similar way of, well, it's set in months again, but it doesn't start at the beginning of the year. It starts in the summer of 1941, and yeah, following the same characters who were in the first book, and a bit more of their lives. We found out quite a lot about them in the first book, so this should follow more of that. So looking forward to reading that in March. May. Really am looking forward to reading that in May. Then I've got 3 books I bought from the charity shop that I was like, I'm not buying books from the charity shop anymore. Whenever I get rid of books, it's always the charity shop books that I get rid of. So I'm not going to buy them anymore. Went to the charity shop, 3 books I really wanted. But I think, if I'm being honest, all of these will get read. So the first one is The Marriage Game by Alison Weir. Now, you'll know that I read and loved the 6 Tudor Queens series by Alison Weir last year. I've just read the Tales from the Tudor Court one, which is a sort of like accompaniment book to that series. And there's another book about Henry VIII that's coming out this year. I've got a reservation on it at the library, but actually the publisher emailed me this week and asked me if I wanted a copy, but they've got very limited copies. So they said to get back. Hopefully I got back in time, but who knows, I may well be getting a copy of that. If not, I'll be getting it out from the library. But this is The Marriage Game, which is about Elizabeth I. Now, I don't know all that much about Elizabeth I, other than what I've read in the 6 Tudor Queens books. So, obviously, she was the daughter of Anne Boleyn. Anne Boleyn doesn't really get to know her very well because she gets beheaded quite soon after her death. But I've heard about her from the perspective of other queens, but I'm looking forward to finding out more about her. I don't know if this is non-fiction or if this is fiction. Like, I can't be sure. Elizabeth, The Marriage Game. Yeah, and this book doesn't, so it's got here like the fiction and the non-fiction, but this book, The Marriage Game, doesn't appear on there. So I guess I won't know until I start reading. But yeah, it's about Elizabeth I is the most sought-after bride in Europe, but though she is formidably intelligent, brave and tempestuous, she is desperately insecure. The tragic events of her past mean she cannot give herself to any man, and yet she relishes the thrill of the chase, the lure of forbidden fruit. And so, using sex and high-powered diplomacy, she plays what becomes known as the marriage game, dangling suitors to keep them friendly to her kingdom while holding them off indefinitely. But playing this tantalising game with the married Robert Dudley, the son and grandson of traitors, could cost her the throne. That sounds to me as though it's fiction. That blurb sounds to me as though it's fiction. But yeah, I got it from Cancer Research Shop. The books are £1, or you can get 2 for £1. And there is so many books in there, but I only managed to get 3. So I paid £2 for 3 of them, but hey, I was being good and I didn't want to just get another one that I didn't want just to put on the shelves and then get rid of at the beginning of next year. So that is that one. And then I've got these 2. So for Christmas, I got from David's mum the 2 books in the start of a series. I'm going to get them here. So here's my bum. Oh. Ooh. So I'd never even heard of these, and when I hauled them in my Christmas haul, everyone was like, oh, you're in for such a treat. It's a series of 4 books called the Casale Chronicles. The first one is called The Light Years. The second one is called Marking Time. So I had these 2. The only thing I will say is that they go together beautifully, and you can get all 4 of them in this where the spines look lovely together. But when I was in the charity shop, I saw that they had, I can't even believe it, the next 2 in the series in different front covers, but nonetheless, absolutely beautiful front covers. This one doesn't even look as though the spine's been split or anything. This one has been read. The next one, I think, oh, so weirdly, Confusion, the one that doesn't look as though it's been touched, is the one that is 3rd, and then the 4th one is Casting Off. Now, I don't really want to read the backs of these, having not read any of these, But the back, so if I tell you the blurb of the first one, so it says, every summer the Casale brothers, Hugh, Edward and Rupert, return to the family home in the heart of the Sussex countryside with their wives and children. There they are joined by the formidable parents and unmarried sister, Rachel, to enjoy 2 glorious months of picnics, games and sundrance excursions to the coast. But not even this idyllic setting can soothe the siblings' fears and heartache. Hugh, haunted by memories of the Great War, is terrified at the looming prospects of a second. Edward, charming and handsome, is torn between his wife and his latest infidelity, and Rupert, a talented painter, is in turmoil over his inability to please his demanding new wife. Meanwhile, Rachel's unflinching loyalty to the family means risking her one chance at happiness with Sid, the woman she feels so passionately about. So there we go. So I don't want to read the blurb of these because I might find out stuff that happens in these ones, but I now have the full series. I didn't realise this is what this would be coming, but maybe I'm going to take this one on my honeymoon with me as well. I think I'm gonna put it on the pile. So I think I've started making a pile for my honeymoon, which is exciting. So yeah, so those are the books that I've recently got my mitts on in the second half of April. Let me know if you've read any of these books. Let me know what books you've been getting your hands on. And I'll see you all again soon for another BookTube video. Goodbye!